like to be joined here by Jasper Carrott, who has a show coming up in the Cork Opera House on May 31st.
Right on there, Steve. Yes, I'll be doing my show. I'm not too sure who I'm doing it with. I'm doing Dublin, Belfast and Cork, and on each venue I'm linked up with some local up-and-coming talent, but I don't know who it is. But it'll be something musical and humorous, and then I'll do my stand-up.
Will the show be new material, or will it be the classics that everybody loves?
Well, they're classics remixed. Like, for instance, I used to do car insurance claim form statements. I'm still doing them, but they're all new. I've collected them over the last 2 or 3 years. And if there is any old material there, it's all revamped and it's brought up to date. Plus, there's lots of new material. So I think it's like something like about an hour and 10, hour and 15 of comedy on the night.
Do you enjoy playing gigs in Ireland?
Love it to pieces. I mean, it's daunting. Ireland is daunting for comics because there's 3.5 million of them living there, and you have to compete with everybody. But I love the Irish way of life, and of course, many years ago, and I've not been able to confirm this, but a second cousin of mine was looking at the family history on my father's side, and she said that my great-grandmother came from Cork, unbelievably. Yeah.
So you've that connection here.
Well,
so
I
might go looking for family while you're over here.
I am indeed, because I've looked and I can't personally find anything, but she swears blind that it's true. So when I'm in Cork, I'm going to have a good ferret around and see if I've got that Irish blood coursing around with me. Because like most Irish people, I don't use a watch. I just have a calendar that's as accurate as I have to be.
That's it.
Yeah, it's right. So I'm sure there's some Irish stuff running around inside me there. But it's always a delight to come to Ireland. And obviously, years ago, crikey, I'm talking sort of around about 2008, we came over to Ireland to play golf, and we played in Cork and Kerry. And it was terrific. The weather, mind you, the weather was brilliant, so it helped enormously. But Cork was a fascinating town, and I shall look forward to revisiting old haunts.
Wonderful. Can I just ask you about like comedy at the moment? I know you've been doing it a couple of years at this stage. But in this kind of day and age where people get offended a lot by a lot of things, do you find comedy is getting a bit tougher to do?
I think every comedian has to look very carefully at his material to make sure that that you're not, pillorying people that don't deserve to be pilloried. For instance, up until sort of the late 70s, I mean, a lot of comics in England and Ireland were doing Irish jokes. Well, nobody does Irish jokes anymore because, well, it's just not. Well, you don't feel comfortable, and you can't smear a whole nation with a brand of humour. And nobody does jokes about Scottish people being tight or whatever, or Brummins being stupid. You just have to be very much more aware of what you're talking about and who you're talking to. And I think it's all for the best. It might have gone a bit too far. Political correctness can restrict comedy. I'll agree to that. But there's ways around it. And providing you have the intellect, the intelligence, and the awareness, you can push the boundaries still.
Yeah, and I suppose, like with a lot of comedy, I suppose as well, is it is a joke and it is a story, and it's not always your honest feeling.
No, well,
if you want to put it that way.
There's a saying that a comedy is lies for laughs.
Yeah,
and that about sums it up, really. And comedy's been going since the beginning of time, and people always find different things to laugh about. The great thing about comedy today is that compared to when I came through sort of and I'm talking about the very late 70s, early 80s,
right.
Comedy was very restricted. Stand-up was still a victim of sort of one-line jokes and comedians in bow ties on the Silver Black show. And comedy has come on such a bundle now that it's like music. Whatever you want, it's catered for. If you like your comedy, really rude and full of swear words, you can find it. If you want something that's intelligent, it's out there. If you want something political, it's out there. If you want slapstick, it's out there. Comedy now is on the same level as music, and whatever you want, it's catered for.
And I suppose comedy does very well in Cork. I suppose people love, like you said, the Irish people in general like a good laugh.
Everybody likes a good laugh, and I worked Cork. They had a comedy festival there quite a few years ago. Again, I'm talking probably about 2005, something like that.
Yeah.
And I went over, and it was terrific. I was on one. I can't remember where it was. Bill Bailey was doing, I think, the Opera House, and I was doing somewhere else. And it was no problem at all. Just they appreciate good humour, and that's why I'm coming back.
And just for myself, I got to ask you about the Detectives, the TV show you did with your friend Robert Powell. Because I grew up watching that. Wonderful show. How much fun was that to make?
I've said many times, Steve, that it was one of the most enjoyable periods of my whole career. Robert and I were good friends, and we became blood brothers after 7 years of working together. He's an incredibly talented actor. Well, he was, Jesus Christ, come on. And I've worked with the Lord, okay, and he has a great sense of humour. He's quite a shy bloke, strangely enough, but he just loved doing comedy. And what he loved was that we didn't just make him the straight man. He had comedy lines to deliver, and he was really thrilled with that. And we just struck that little seam of comedy between us. And we did it for 7 years, and as I say, it was just really, really satisfying and enjoyable.
I can still remember watching, there was an episode where you were using Subbuteo figures or something, planning out a soccer game, or there was something like that going on in one of the episodes. And always wonderful stuff.
We had a make believe. It was a cup final between Manchester United and Birmingham City, which is highly unlikely now. And then we were hostages to this guy, and we all got involved with watching the match, and it was probably one of the best episodes we ever made, if I'm honest.
It was great fun.
And but it was about the second show that went out, and it sort of established it established the relationship and established the level of humour. And as I say, for 7 years we had a ball. We really did.
It was wonderful, and I remember I grew up watching a lot of your stand up as well. And another one of my favourites was, because I know you're a big Birmingham City fan as well. Or when you were talking about going to Old Trafford for the away game, that's one of my all time favourite jokes of yours. It's a great routine.
Well, it was a true story.
Yeah.
There was 6 or 7 of us went, and as I say, the one guy was a real rookie. He didn't realise danger you were in those days.
In those days,
being in the stadium and being a Birmingham City fan. I mean, essentially everybody knew that you didn't say anything. You didn't let your accent go. You didn't wear blue and white. But he didn't know any of that, and we had to sort of protect him. And of course, out of adversity comes the humour. And I'm glad you said that, because people still remind me of that sketch. And there was a line in it that was like, "Carrott, they've got no Karen Bovril," and people still shout that to me today. And I'm talking 1976. That's when I wrote it, 1976, and people still remember it. It's been one of the real joys of comedy for me personally, is that I have been a part of so many people's lives in some way. Like you were saying, Steve, I've been a part of your life, not major, but a small part.
Definitely.
And I can't tell you how gratifying that is.
And can I just bring up your daughter quickly, because a lot of people mightn't realise that your daughter is, of course, Lucy Davis, who's been in Wonder Woman and Sabrina and that.
That's correct.
Her career has really taken off.
It has. I mean, she was around for a while, and then
Was she in an episode of The Detectives as well?
Sorry?
Was she in The Detectives as well when she was younger?
She spoke one line in The Detectives, and that was by sheer chance. She happened to be on the set at the time, just looking as to how sitcoms and filming is done.
Yeah.
And there was this line, and the girl hadn't turned up, so they asked Lucy to do it, and we often laugh about it. But of course, her career was halted in sort of her mid-early 20s. She had to have a kidney transplant.
Right.
And my wife donated the kidney. So her career went on hold. But then she came back, and she was in the Office,
of course, yeah.
As Dawn, and they won this Golden Globe in America. And she's been living in Los Angeles for about 12 or 15 years. I can't remember now. But she was in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then she is now in the #1 show in America. It's called the Something Adventures of Sabrina.
The
and it's a
Chilling
rework of
Adventures,
Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, which was on television a few years ago.
Yeah, it's
and they've brought it up to date. They've darkened it, and it's basically for Sabrina fans who are now sort of in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
But it's #1 in America, and she's had a tremendous amount of success with it. So I'm very proud of her.
Very good. And of course, you did a HBO special yourself back in the day, and you were never never tempted to move over yourself?
I was, yes. It was around about 1984, 85. But of course, I achieved quite a bit of success in America. But my children were growing up; they were all of school age,
right.
And I didn't really want to make that massive move to America and uplift everybody and uproot everybody. And so I did what I wanted to do, was to satisfy myself that if I really worked, I could make it in America. And I came away with that feeling. Whether I would or not, Steve, I don't know.
I'm sure you would have. Yeah.
I remember that one of my greatest accolades was that I was recommended highly to an American, to a Los Angeles writer by Robin Williams, who saw me work in San Francisco, unbeknownst to me. And he was really enthusiastic about what I was doing to this guy in Los Angeles, this entertainment writer. I met Robin Williams about 18 months, 2 years later, in Los Angeles, and just had this magic sort of half an hour talking about comedy, and there was a legend in front of me, someone who I admired like you can't believe.
I could imagine
that
was
that was just fantastic, and of course that led to that HBO special in America.
Wonderful. Yeah, I can imagine yourself and Robin Williams you're both very quick with the wit. It must have been a great fun half hour.
He was 10 times quicker than me.
Yeah,
I could hardly get a word.
No,
I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to listen to him.
Yeah.
But it was a real privilege talking to him, and gosh, he's sadly missed.
Yeah, very much so. And I know you love music. You obviously you had a big hit. You had a
yes, it was. Funny enough, it was the only ever hit single that had no musical content. You're talking about a thing called Magic Roundabout, which was a Mickey take of a kids program that was, while it was for kids, adults used to watch it.
Yeah.
The B side, the A side was Funky Moped, which was musical, but it only sold 30,000 copies. But Magic Roundabout sold 840,000.
Amazing.
Unheard of quantities these days.
That's
but
crazy.
that kicked a few doors open, and I managed to get through a few of them.
And you like playing your folk music and that early on, and still playing with the guitar and that?
That's where I learnt my trade. I opened up a folk club in 1969 once a week, and then I started working at other people's clubs. And of course, I came through at the same time as Billy Connolly, who I used to bring him down from Scotland to work in the Midlands. So I used to do tours and stuff. And of course, Max Boyce and Mike Harding were all in folk clubs entertaining, and then of course we all moved on. And this is my 50th year in the business. So so it's nice to come back to Ireland in my 50th year.
That's it. And music's still a part of your show?
Yes, not nowhere near as much as it was.
Right.
Only about 5 or 6 minutes or something like that. But I do a show over here, Steve, called Rock with Laughter, and I work with Bev Bevan, who was the drummer in the Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
And I work with his band. I do the stand-up, and he does the rock, and we do quite a few shows, but
Wonderful.
we couldn't really bring it over to Ireland. People weren't available, and also it's quite expensive to bring the band.
I'd imagine
and
so.
Not having worked in Ireland for so long, I didn't know the strength of my box office. As it happened, we probably could have done it. Well, but there's always next time, Steve. Always
next time. We look forward to that. So just to recap at the end here, it's going to be the Cork Opera House on the 31st of May. There's still some tickets left, but people would want to get out there and start getting them.
Yeah, well, I think you can have your own balcony at the moment.
Can you?
But no, it will be wonderful to see everybody again. And if there's 10 people or 10,000, it's you just I do it, and they find it funny or they don't. But I'm expecting. I'm really looking forward to coming back for all sorts of reasons, and that it's always great to make Irish people laugh, because if they're laughing, you can make anybody laugh.
Wonderful stuff. So we're looking forward to you coming over. So again, if people want to get tickets, they can go to the Cork Opera House website, or just call into the Cork Opera House and buy tickets at the box office. Thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us today, and it was wonderful to talk to you.
Absolute pleasure, Steve.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you again.
Thank you. Bye now.